there we go. Okay, so we'll go on to our first topic for now. So just a little overview about AmeriCorps. It is a federally funded national service program. It's been around since 1994. So in 2024, we will actually be celebrating 30 years of AmeriCorps, which is really cool. Our State Service Commission has already started planning the launch training that they do in the fall every year with all AmeriCorps programs statewide, and members attend that. So we're really happy. And later on in today's training, we'll talk about where that takes place and stuff like that. But our not just the Homes for All program, but the Kentucky programs are supported by Serve Kentucky. That is our state commission. That's where our program officers are housed. They monitor all of our AmeriCorps, everything to do with our AmeriCorps grant funding and everything like that. In Kentucky, we do have 22 AmeriCorps programs. I think there are a couple planning programs right now, so they're still in that planning phase and haven't started recruiting members to start a year of service yet. But that's a lot of programs for a state. Our programs primary focus is on housing and homelessness. And so for the 23-24 program year, our goal is to provide services to 2,000 individuals, and we hope that 800 of those will be housed, or they either transition into housing, they either maintain their housing. So those are our performance measures for the whole year. That's statewide. That's not individual partner sites. The categories for our AmeriCorps members, we've broken it down into like three kind of like branches or positions. So we have our construction positions, we have homeless services, and also housing services. As many of you know, our program year does start on August 1st and it will end July 31st of 2024. It's the same every year. It used to be September, but for the past 4 years, it has been August 1st to July 31st. And in that time frame, depending on what type of slot or member position the person is serving in, they'll have that hour component. So that's the time frame that they have to complete 1,700 hours, 1,200 hours, or 900 hours. So you all know what type of slot that you have because you filled out your application requesting the slot type. On this slide, it shows, that's a typo. I did not mean to do that. For the 23-24 program year, these are all of our partner organizations across the state. So we are very happy to be partnering with all of you all and your amazing organizations. I'm so excited for the new year, and I'm ready to get our members, started and the year off on a good foot. Some service language that we use when we reference serving with an AmeriCorps program or partnering with an AmeriCorps program. So the person who is serving as an AmeriCorps member, that's what they are. They are the AmeriCorps member. They're not AmeriCorps service member. They're not an AmeriCorps volunteer. We do reference them as an AmeriCorps member, and they're not an AmeriCorps worker. So we like to talk to everybody about just the language that we will use throughout the year while partnering with you. The term of service, so that is the term that the person agrees to serve. So if they are completely clear to start on August 1st, their term of service will be from August 1st to July 31st. If they start in February, then it would be, from February 3rd to July 31st. So it's that time piece, or the term of service is their time in our AmeriCorps program. The living allowance, that is what is deposited to the member in their bank account through direct deposit every other week. So it's not a paycheck. We do call it a living allowance. So some of the terms that we never use are hire, work, intern, or employee. AmeriCorps members are in this really unique position, and we just want to make sure that we're using the language. Okay, so we'll go on to partnering with our program. So HHCK's role at the program level, our office does administer the federal grant. We make sure that we are in compliance with all of those regulations. Our office completes all of the background checks necessary to get a person cleared to start their term of service at your organizations. We will also provide an orientation at the beginning of the year, which we'll talk about today as well. We will provide support to you in the organizations that you work at, and also the member. We do encourage member development throughout the year, and we also report on our program goals and our member progress to AmeriCorps and also Serve Kentucky. In partnership with you, we will make sure that our AmeriCorps members are eligible and enrolled to start their term of service. We're going to supervise and mentor our members throughout the year. We're going to make sure that our members are safe. We want safety to be a priority. And in partnership with you, just supporting the overall goals of the Homes for All AmeriCorps program. Some of the service site role and key responsibilities while they're partnering with our program, we want sites to provide quality supervision and mentorship to the member or members serving at their sites. Hopefully we're offering tools to help them be successful at your site. So if they need office space or equipment, technology, access to the internet, anything else like that, we hope that those are being offered to them. We also need your help with supporting the data collection component of our program, and in the performance measure reporting part of that too. As you probably remember from the application that you submitted, there was a kind of like a estimate on how many people the member may serve during their term of service. So just reflecting back on that with your member, seeing where things are going, and just making sure that those forms that need to be submitted to our office are getting done by the member. We ask that you are talking with us, and I've mentioned this too, just supporting the goals of AmeriCorps and the member development component of that, which could be, with members joining us for our annual spring service project, attending that launch training with all of the other Kentucky AmeriCorps programs, just to give some examples. We also want to make sure that our members have the opportunity to complete their term of service. That is a requirement to the position. So if it is a full-time 1,700-hour position, that would be 37 and a half hours per week. And we'll talk a little bit later while we've kind of set that weekly hour goal, just a little later. But we are hoping that our 1,700-hour members are serving in that full-time capacity. Okay, so we'll move on to recruitment and finding a member. So our office did send out a recruitment PDF earlier in the month. We are going to, we're posting and managing listings on several platforms. We are, if we get any general applications, we will screen those applicants for their eligibility in the program. And if they pass that screening, we will forward that on to service sites. Again, that's if we do get general applicants in your service area. We want sites to be advertising and interviewing suitable candidates, share information about AmeriCorps, and then, recommending the candidates that they, using the recommendation form that's included in that recruitment packet to our office. We do know that challenges arise when you start advertising for the AmeriCorps positions. We know that the living allowance could be a barrier. Sometimes people ghost, but we're going to put all of those good vibes out there that we are not going to have that problem this year. So, on this slide, I just wanted to post like a general a general recruitment flyer. We did list the living allowance. This year it is $20,100. That's split between 26 pay periods. The education award was also increased to $6,895. For full-time members, we're able to offer healthcare coverage. HHCK pays the premium for that, so they would never see that withheld from their living allowance. AmeriCorps does offer childcare assistance, and then we, offer professional development throughout the year. We have our Google form application on the HHCK website, and so that's why we did include the link. Serve as a member. Once they go to that link, they'll be able to click the Google application form. I wanted to show this very short YouTube ad that AmeriCorps has made. Serve Kentucky sent it out to us. And the reason why I like it is they actually shot this in Kentucky this year. So these are all Kentucky AmeriCorps members that were serving in the 22-23 program year. And I think that it would be a great way for your partner organizations to also just kind of share AmeriCorps, maybe catch somebody's attention, whenever they're posting on their social medias about AmeriCorps and the position that they're advertising for. So bear with me. Hold on just a second. I forgot to click on it before. Forgot to make a separate window for this. So give me just a second. What if you could do SEO smarter? Okay, it should be loading in just a second. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna hit
Yes.
play.
It's faster. With Wix, you can edit your meta tags page by page or all in one go.
Need can appear in different ways. That's why, whether it's providing shelter from life's personal storms or actual ones, in every county in Kentucky, AmeriCorps is here to serve.
So that's just a very short clip. I think that it's really awesome that we have those professional advertisements now, like a YouTube ad. So I will be sure to share that link after today's training so that you guys can have it and share it with maybe some of those outlets that you do your recruitment through. So let me pull back up my presentation now. Some key things, though, just to remember when you are making your advertisement post, making sure that you list the type of hour requirement is tied to the position. So if it's a 900-hour position, making sure that you have that correct. If it's a 1,700-hour position, making sure you include that and including the correct living allowance amounts and everything like that. Oh. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about, so we have found our AmeriCorps member. We're ready to start that paperwork in the enrollment process. So we do, like I've mentioned, and it's mentioned probably a bazillion times in the recruitment PDF, we do a Google form now for our application. That's going to be the first step once they are recommended to our office from you all. We will then set up an interview, a phone interview with them. We'll talk about the same, probably a lot of the same information that you've shared with them. So, the background check portions, some of the trainings that happen throughout the year, making sure that they understand the benefits to AmeriCorps and making sure they know that living allowance amount. And so once we do that, we'll move forward with the paperwork. So we will send the enrollment packet through Signwell if that's what they prefer. If they prefer to have it sent to them through email, we can do that too. If they need it mailed to them, we will mail it to them. So we'll work out with whatever way that they want to fill out the paperwork, we'll make sure to do it with them. Once we get that paperwork back from the member, we will process it and make sure that everything is filled out completely. If there's anything that needs to be corrected, we'll send it back. We'll make sure that, everything's done. And then we will run the National Service criminal history checks. That consists of 3 background checks. All 3 of those background checks have to be completely cleared by our office before the person can start. It used to be a little bit different years ago, but AmeriCorps came out with new policies, I guess in 2021. And so the FBI check has to be cleared and adjudicated by our office. The state background check, same, and also the National Sex Offender Public Registry check. So all of those have to be cleared by HHCK first. The reason why I talk about it so much and in detail is because that can kind of be the time-consuming part of getting a person enrolled. So it could take multiple days to get those checks back and cleared. So just want to tell you all that. enrollment. So there is a form in AmeriCorps that has to be completed within 5 days of starting the service year. The first day of service is the first day that the person can start serving hours. So if they get cleared to start on August 1st, we will send that confirmation email to you and the members saying, hey, they are cleared to start on August 1st. And that should be the first day that they start serving. If it changes, so say an emergency happens and the person can't start until August 3rd, we need to know that information as soon as possible, because if the start date changes, that means we have to update our paperwork to be compliant with our program or compliant with our grant. So we just want to make sure all of those dates match. Yeah. So another important piece of information is we will stop enrolling full-time or 1,700-hour members on September 11th. So that September 11th is the last date that we will enroll a full-time member. After that, if you haven't filled your position by then, we could talk about reducing it to a 1,200-hour position. But we're going to continue, our goal is to get our members started by August 1st. So they have the whole program year to serve that 1,700-hour requirement. Okay. Next thing we'll talk about is member orientation. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water. Okay, so before your member arrives, this is probably something that you will talk about probably during the interview process, and just that paperwork and everything like that. Making sure they understand what the AmeriCorps program is and what their role is. Oh, I'm sorry, to other staff members. So they have an idea of like, oh, if they see someone new at the copier, they'll know, oh, that's the AmeriCorps member that's serving, with the organization for the next year. If you provide business cards, ordering those with the AmeriCorps logo, I'll also send out an attachment with the updated AmeriCorps logo. It did change last year, so if you didn't partner with us in this previous program year, the logo has changed. If you can create a service email for the member, that would be great. So all of the communication with clients, it's in that professional organization email address. We hope that you are checking in with the member frequently, especially, right before they're starting, just making sure that they know how to get to your office, the expectations for the first day. Hopefully, before the member's first day, they'll already know what their agreed upon schedule is going to be. So if they're going to be serving Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4 or 8:30 to 4:30 or whatever it is that you all agree on, they already know that, hopefully weeks in advance before starting. And of course, if you have any questions, that's what we're here for. So the service site orientation, that's the orientation that you will provide to the member early, whenever they start their year of service. So if you're able to do like a little welcome lunch or break or something like that, I think that just from talking to members now and in previous years, it always makes them feel, part of the team, makes them feel like, they're wanted. They know that they're about to, dive into a great year of service, which great can also mean a little hard at times. So just setting that tone early if you can, and introducing them to other staff or volunteers that, they'll be working with and see often. If there are any housekeeping items, so how the office works, if there's a specific person that orders office supplies, make sure they know that. Make sure they know where office supplies are, if there are specific parking lots or parking spots, they know that. Same with like just the ins and outs of like the phone, email, keys, and mail situations. For position trainings, we hope that they are detailed, and so that they know what the expectations are, so that they can complete their service responsibilities at your organizations. The member and site expectation agreement. So this was a form that we created through COVID, and I'll send this in my recap email. This form basically outlines, it's exactly what it says. It's an expectation agreement. So it is that first piece of documentation if anything were to arise that may need an action plan or a corrective action plan. It's going to have, their schedule for whatever days they're supposed to be, so they know what their schedule is, and other expectations that you as the supervisor and the site has to make sure everything's just getting everything's just very clear and they know what they're going to be doing. So we'll have that reviewed. You will review that and complete it with the member, sign it, and then send it back to our office. We'll keep it on file. So in that first month, hopefully there's some position training going on, any readings over policies, procedures, and any additional like standing calls or meetings that you already have scheduled out, having your members join those and introducing them to some community members or others that they will be working with throughout the year. So we complete our program orientation in August. This year, the dates are August 9th through the 11th. We will be in Frankfort at the public library. I'm super excited about this. I'm glad it worked out. The library here in Frankfort has some really great meeting spaces. So I'm really happy about that. Our office will provide lodging, meals, and reimbursement. So we will coordinate all of that with your members that have onboarded the week before, basically. Some of the things that we do cover, like some of the topics that we go over during those 3 days, we talk about AmeriCorps. Not only like nationwide, but also statewide. We know that a lot of people who serve, they may not know the ins and outs of, all things AmeriCorps because, it's a new experience for them. So we like to kind of get them up to speed on that. Understanding what this service commitment is. We'll talk about housing and homelessness issues in Kentucky. And we'll also, go through the policies are our policies and procedures and prohibited activities. There's also a member development component of our grant, and we'll talk about that with our members. A lot of that is already planned and coordinated by our office. So there, it's kind of hands off. We just provide some opportunities for the members to, be with us a few times a year. We'll hopefully touch on self-care. We know that it is hard. Service is hard. and, working with the public and doing direct service is hard. So we want to be able to provide some self-care for them before they get out and they're doing their position, daily. And then some team building, they're going to be meeting a lot of new people through this experience. And so we want them to, form those connections and relationships at the beginning of the year. Okay, so we'll go on to the member service year. You've already heard me say term of service a million times in the last hour, and probably a lot of this, but we just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with how the program year operates. Our year is August 1st to July 31st. There is an hour requirement tied to their positions. So the positions that you have applied to fill. So if it's a 1,700 hour, right now we only have 1,700 hour and 900 hour positions. The 1,200 hour does come a little bit later if for some reason a full-time position does not get filled by September 11th. The weekly schedule, that's going to be determined between you, the supervisor, and the member. That's going to be written out on that member and site expectation agreement. So your member is going to know what their schedule is. We want you to account for 37 and a half hours per week. And the reason why we do that is because if we're looking to fill a 1,700 or full-time hour position, they do have 10 personal, 10 sick days, and there are 11 holidays in the program year that we observe. So if they're serving 37 and a half hours and they start on August 1st, they're able to take some time off and observe those hours. We've kind of created this schedule so that burnout hopefully doesn't happen and they can stay on track with that hour requirement. And then leave for a 900 hour position, it's 5 personal days, 5 sick days, and the same 11 holidays if they're serving through the whole term of service from August to July. If not, if they start in February, then they would have, the holidays from February to July. The member benefits for the new program year, the living allowance for full-time 1,700 hour member is $20,100. That is split between 26 pay periods if they start on August 1st. The education award is $6,895. We talk about these benefits because they can be a really good benefit and why someone may be interested in serving, especially the education award. You can let them know, hey, you have 7 years to use this. You got some time to figure out what you want to use it for. If you want to go back to school and, this can help you pay for that. So the education award is a big benefit to service. They will get some professional development, not only, from HHCK, but also their experience with you on site and any other trainings that you're able to send them off to or to participate in. Health insurance for full-time members, HHCK does pay the premium. It's good health insurance. Child care assistance, AmeriCorps does offer child care assistance if that's something that they want to apply for or see if they're eligible for. I will send them the link and they can apply on AmeriCorps' website. They're covered on our workers' compensation policy. Of course, we don't want any accidents like that, to happen, but we know it can. Student loan forbearance. So if they have student loans that they're paying on when they're serving, they can request through my AmeriCorps to put those loans in forbearance, so they don't have to worry about that loan payment while they're in service. So that's pretty cool. I did that during both years of my my service. And we offer the member assistance program. And this was something that our office started doing during COVID. It's free to the member and the member's household. So anyone living with the member, they also have they're also eligible for the member assistance program. And so what that is, it's a 24/7 hour virtual mental health that they'll get set up with a mental health professional. And so if they need any therapy and stuff like that, they have that free benefit. They can also help with the members assistance program. Some of the other stuff they talk about is like, work-life balance, just trying to keep the member and their household members in a good headspace. So that's pretty cool. And the member assistance program is also something that we talk about at our orientation when we have all of our members together as well. The member position description, this is the document that defines your members' service years. So 90% of the activities on the member position description are service site related tasks. They're from those activities are from the allowable activity document that was attached in the application. And then we leave 10% for program activities. So that's for, some of those trainings and events that would pull them off site and to be with us. That also allows them time for reporting and communication with their office. I'm so sorry. You heard that noise. That also lists the member eligibility. So, yeah, I'm so sorry. You never know what you're going to get in downtown Frankfort. The member eligibility, so making sure they meet those requirements. Any other essential functions that you would like to put on that position description will be on there as well. So like if they need, the ability to lift 20 pounds, that type of thing. Next part, when it comes to supervising a member, is approving their timesheets. We started in the current program year doing weekly timesheets. We're going to continue with that. It has worked out really great for members. I feel like members have really stayed on top of submitting their timesheets to their supervisors, and just really being aware of where they're at meeting their hour requirement for the year. So they will submit those weekly. You will receive an email from America Learn saying, hey, Holly submitted her timesheet. And so you can figure out a system that works for you on getting those approved. We do ask that they are at least getting approved by supervisors twice a month, so that nobody gets too behind on timesheets and trying to keep up with, is their time accurate, that sort of thing. Your member will also, if they want to, there's a phone app that is live now, so that they can download the application. We'll talk about it at orientation too. And it is only for the members. It's only for submitting timesheets. But I think that makes it a little bit more accessible to people. When I feel like a lot of people are on their phones or have their phones or have the ability to use a phone. So we'll we're happy that America Learns finally came out with that app for members. So I'm eager to see how it works. It is, again, like I said, open, but as we get closer to a member orientation, I'll actually like go in and see what the application is about so that we can train them on that if they choose to use that feature. If not, they can, hop online while they're at their site and submit their timesheets. I guess I'll add too, for new site supervisors, before the year starts, you will receive an email, a welcome email, so that you can get set up. You can set up your password so that you can, bookmark the Homes for All or America Learns page. So just wanted to add that too. If you're a current supervisor, you won't have to do anything. You'll just have, the new member or returning member on your America Learns page. Gosh, sorry. Okay, switching over to performance measures. This is what's reported to Serve Kentucky and AmeriCorps. So members will report on the number of individuals that they have served. And we mean the meaningful engagements that they have with a person, not somebody that they talk to on the phone one time, but someone that they are actively, working with, setting goals with, someone that they have case management or whatever type of service task that they're doing. On that form, it asks the household size and demographics. And on the wrap-up form, it asks for the number of individuals housed, and then there's another box for the proof of housing. So if it was a lease or it was a mortgage, or if construction was completed, that's how we will have that. That's not anything, that proof is nothing that we have to have on file at our office. That's something I'm sure at your organizations you keep proof of. Volunteers, there's a monthly volunteer report. So if that's part of their position description, they'll report on the number of volunteers, if it's episodic or reoccurring, and then the number of hours. And there's no identifying or confidential information that we collect. When I talk about like demographics and household size, there's a box where the member is just going to list, like if there are 2 adults in that household, they would just do adult 1, adult 2. If there are 3 kids, they'll do child 1, 2, 3. And we don't need any names at all. The demographics are all reported by the client or the individual. So if they don't want to share that information, they don't have to. So just wanted to say that. Also, more on reporting on those performance measures. It is the member's responsibility. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, reporting their new reports for the previous month will be due on the 15th of that month. So what I mean is November 15th would be the due date for any new households that they served in the month of October. Sorry, I just had to take a deep breath. We want them to respond, and complete those requests as soon as possible. But we've noticed a trend that when we set that 15th deadline, members are like, they're keeping up with that. They're like, oh, it's the 15th. I need to send forms to Holly for the new people that I've worked with this month. So on the 15th of every month, typically, we have a monthly member training. It's virtual. So we wanted those dates to align. So they only have to remember one date, unless, of course, the 15th falls on a weekend, then we would adjust that. But they'll know that at the beginning of each month when we send out a monthly email to them. So our responsibility, we're going to be training on that at our member orientation when they're with us in August. We're going to be doing plenty of ongoing reminders throughout the year. And if a member needs one-on-one training, or if a site and member needs one-on-one training, we'll set that up. That's no problem at all. We will review the reports when they're submitted, and we take that data and we do report it to AmeriCorps and Serve Kentucky. We hope that our sites support our efforts to receive those performance measure data. So just, making sure that your member has time to work on those, incorporating a question about performance measures into the check-ins that you guys have scheduled together, just so you have an idea of, how that's working for them. What type of system do they have set up? Have they filled out any service forms and sent them to our office? And if a member were to leave or exit service early, just either submitting missing data to us or confirming the data that they had already submitted to our office. So we hope, if there's anything going on with performance measures, we can have that conversation and just make sure we can figure out what works best for your members and getting that information to us. And we don't want it to take up a lot of their time. So yeah, that's what we're here to just kind of figure out a plan that works best for them. Oh, I forgot to take that slide out. Member development. This is also part of our member orientation in August, but we like to tell our supervisors what we mean by this. The purpose is to help members intentionally participate with our program. We hope that it strengthens them to be an active citizen and just encourage civic engagement. There are some goal setting, or there is goal setting at the beginning of the year. That's something that our office does with the member. They'll set either 2 personal or 2 professional goals that they would like to hopefully accomplish during their year with us. And then we have some quarterly reflections. It's just another safe place for members to talk to us about anything that's going on, where they're at, if they've accomplished their goals that they set for themselves, what helped them achieve their goals, successes that they've had through or successes through that quarter, and if there were any challenges that arose. And same with if they were able to attend any trainings during that quarter, stuff like that. So it's just some extra, just an extra piece of communication with our office. The 4 components to the member development part of our grant. The first one is MLK Day. The Spring Service Project, that's a construction project. The Homeless Service Activity or the K Count, if their communities participate in the K Count or point in time count. And then a public speaking activity. Again, these are all things that our office and hopefully the member coordinator coming in will be coordinating all of these days of service or the components to the member development. The MLK Day, it used to be in regional groups, that service project, but this year we did a project with a few other AmeriCorps programs in Lexington, and we secured donations from Christian Appalachian Project to make resource bags or care kits, or also known as blessing bags. And so we got to members got to put those together. They could take them with them. That way, if they had some, or if they want to keep some in their car, if they were to meet with someone experiencing homelessness, they could give them a bag. We also brought a lot of the bags back to our office. They work great for a lot of the clients and walk-ins that come to our office in Frankfort. So we open that up for all of our members to attend, no matter where they serve. In the state, we will provide that mileage reimbursement for joining us on that MLK Day of Service. But we're going to do it again this year. It's one less thing that a member has to coordinate. So we hope that you encourage your members to participate with us. So yeah, those are just the 4 components that we'll be talking about throughout the year in case your member were to come to you and mention these things. We wanted to make sure you also knew what we were talking about. Other trainings and events that will happen throughout the program year. I already mentioned this, but we do have our monthly member trainings. It's on the 15th of every month, unless that falls on a weekend. We talk about any program updates, and we will try to provide a training on a special topic. Some of the topics that we've provided training on include, fair housing, healthy boundaries, trauma-informed care, implicit bias, hopefully some time management. We didn't get to that this year, but I'm hoping that we can do that this upcoming year. So we do like to sprinkle in an hour or so of some virtual professional development while they're with us. You can go ahead and mark this on your calendars. AmeriCorps launch will be held in Owensboro, Kentucky this year on November 14th and 15th. That's the big training that Serve Kentucky coordinates for all Kentucky programs and members to attend. It will be 2 full days of training. We just had a meeting actually today about it, and hopefully there might be a service project that we can all do on one of those days together. They'll do the swearing in. So it's a really awesome and impactful training. So we cover all of those expenses for the member to participate with us. So if you hear your members talking about this training, this is what it is. So you can go ahead and put those on those dates on your calendar and know that the member will be away for those days or off-site those days. Site visits, we will do site visits in the fall as well. And then in the spring, if they are needed, there is an AmeriCorps week in March. That says the wrong year, March 2024. So we will reach out to you all about, spotlighting your members. If you have any connections with any of the, city commissioners or, elected officials that would like to recognize your members, that would be great. And then we will have our end of year training in July of 2024. Okay, we'll move on to member support, supervision and support. So with supervising an AmeriCorps member, We want you to provide, a comprehensive training and orientation so that they feel confident in providing services, direct services to the community. We want them to review we want you to review all relevant policies and procedures before the member begins serving people directly, just so they know, what they just know, policies and best practices that work for your organizations. There's no kind of gray areas before they go and they're working with people. Hopefully you guys can dedicate a time to meet, if not each week, every other week, monthly, just kind of staying in touch with them. So, you know where they're at on, getting updates on the clients that they're working with or their caseload, or, seeing if they've done their service forms for us, and just overall checking in on them, making sure they're feeling okay. Do they need anything? Do they need any resources? That type of thing. Site supervisors do serve, again, as that direct supervisor, a coach and a mentor to members. Sometimes AmeriCorps members, this is their term of service is their first experience in maybe the service/work field, and being like a professional. So, really teaching them, being someone that they know that they can go to for, good professional advice. Completing those 2 member evaluations. One is the mid-year and then one is the end of year. If there are any changes in supervision, we do ask that you notify our office immediately so that we can update the position description to reflect the correct supervisor. And then just communicate with their staff as needed. Back to member evaluations. They are required by AmeriCorps. So there are 2 evaluations that you will complete with your member. The first one happens, in the middle of the year, and then at the end of the year. There are 2 sections to that evaluation. The top portion is the program performance. So we just overall evaluate how they've been doing on the program side of things. And then on the second page, it is the service side performance, which is more detailed. We know that you guys are the ones that are working with them daily. You're their direct supervisor. And there are some areas that you can, explain in writing, some, maybe some areas for growth, and the things that work really well for them. I just kind of talked about that, but things you would want to include are positive feedback, any constructive feedback. And this isn't anything new. We've always had to do 2 evaluations for our members. So how organizations can develop and support members. I'll just touch on this briefly because we've already kind of talked about it throughout the training, but you can do that in a more formal way. Having trainings and professional development opportunities for the member to participate in, staff meetings and staff retreats. Your AmeriCorps member is part of the team, and so we hope that you do include them in any type of situation like that. So in more informal, those check-ins, they don't have to be super formal, but always making sure you're staying in communication with your member. Having an open door policy, that doesn't mean, and when I say open door policy, obviously having boundaries with that, you all know that, just making sure the member knows what type of communication style works for you, and so that they don't just kind of bombard you. So if they need to wait until your check-in to ask questions, just letting them kind of know what that looks like up front. And then just developing that mentorship with them. And this gets brought up sometimes through the year. And so we want to talk about it now. So some sites have the ability, if they want to increase the living allowance, they can do so. So $20,100 is the base amount there for a 1,700 hour member. If you would like to increase it, the maximum amount is $35,200 for a full-time or 1,700 hour member, and the maximum for a 900 hour member is $17,600. Just want to let you all know that up front in case you decided that you want to put a little bit, you want to increase the living allowance a little bit. Again, those are just the max amounts. That if you were to increase the living allowance, we would need the payment mailed to our office before we could add it to the living allowance deposits. So I'll include the living allowance increase form so sites can look it over if that's something that they want to do. You can support a member through housing. So if there's on-site housing, you can offer that to the member. You could also help pay a portion of their rent or mortgage. It just cannot be paid directly to the member. It would have to be paid directly to the property manager or landlord or the loan office. So that's another way. You could provide, food and gift cards to help with any of those food costs. If you have any clothing or promotional items with your organization's logo on it, providing that to them, and just that ongoing training throughout the year. We do ask if you have more than one member at your site to just please be equitable in the support that you are giving your members. Okay, so we'll move on to key policies and procedures. We're almost done. Okay, prohibited activities. I'm not going to read through all of this, and I say that because there's actually going to be an online training that we are asking site supervisors to complete over prohibited activities. You will receive a certificate whenever you're done, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Most of the prohibited activities, what this means is, while you're charging time to the program or accumulating service hours or training hours, you cannot engage in any of the following activities. A lot of that is political and religious activities. You also can't train, recruit, or manage volunteers to do any of these prohibited activities. So that's just something to be mindful of. Members can do this. They can, engage, and we want them to be, civically engaged individuals. It just has to be on their own time. They can't be wearing a Homes for All shirt or an AmeriCorps shirt and, doing a protest. It's prohibited. They can't accumulate service hours during that time. So again, it's all on their off time when it's just them. They're not acting or representing AmeriCorps, our program, or your organization. This, again, is the same thing, or just a list of continued prohibited activities and everything else that I just said. We have access to this account. It's called On3 Learns Training, and they do a comprehensive prohibited activities training. I will send out the instructions in the follow-up email. We ask that the supervisor complete this training by July 31st, so before your member starts, before the program year starts. It's a 45-minute online training. I went through it just getting familiar with the system, and it's a very good training, especially for it to be online. So it doesn't take up a lot of your time, but it is very beneficial when you are supporting and supervising an AmeriCorps member. So we're only asking supervisors to do this one time. So if you partner with us again next year, you're not going to have to do it again. So I'll say that too. It's just a one-time training. We want to make sure that we get all of our site supervisors up to date on that. AmeriCorps at the federal level did update their teleservice policy. And so what that means is we know COVID definitely shifted and changed the way things work. But we do have to follow policies set from the federal agency. So members should be on site the majority of their service. There is a limit on how many hours that can be allocated to teleservice. And so that's no more than 10% of their hours. So for 1,700 hours, no more than 170, 1,200, no more than 120, and 900, no more than 90. I just wanted to lay that out here for everyone, just because some people may work on different hybrid schedules and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a new policy to follow in regards to teleservice. If your site requires vaccine documentation or to be up to date on those vaccines, that's still again, your member would have to follow the policies that you have set in place for that. So at HHCK, our members that serve with us, they have to be up to date on their COVID-19 vaccinations. And then again, just following up to date health and safety protocols if, something were to arise. So that's just a little update on COVID and just teleservice policy in general. So keep those numbers in mind. If we were to start seeing some teleservice on the timesheet or on your member's timesheet, we would definitely want to get something just communicated with us on, the limitations to that and just how often that's happening. Transportation and mileage. If the position does require your member to, drive or whatever the case may be, just setting those expectations up at the beginning of their service term. We ask that our sites provide mileage reimbursement if they are doing client transport, for home visits in their personal vehicle. And just making sure you're keeping a copy of their valid driver's license and auto insurance for their vehicle in file or on file at your site. So if you have any questions about, transportation or mileage, you can just let me know. AmeriCorps branding, you can use it on business cards if you have business cards ordered for your member in their email signature. We ask that partner sites incorporate the AmeriCorps logo on their websites so that people who are visiting your websites see that you are a partner and partnering with an AmeriCorps program. Just said this in different words. You must identify as an AmeriCorps service site. If you would like an updated sign, we can get that to you. We had some really cool ones made last year. So we can definitely get that to you. Your member needs to always wear something with the logo on it. We do provide gear. At orientation, they will get a t-shirt, they'll get a hoodie, they'll get a Nalgene bottle, a journal, ink pens, lapel pins, a lanyard. So that'll work. We have, members that get really creative with their branding. They'll put it on, they'll create something on their bulletin board behind their, desk, or sites make their name badge and it has the logo on it. So it doesn't mean that they have to wear their AmeriCorps t-shirt every day, is what I'm getting at. Safety. We ask that supervisors, just anticipate or plan for any safety issues. Your members are covered on our workers' compensation through HHCK. If an accident or an incident were to happen, you would need to notify me immediately and complete a claim form. We will get that sent to you ASAP, and then it is submitted to KEMI. Also, safety, in those check-ins that you're having with your members, check in on them, on their mental health, see how they're doing. You don't have to share those things with us. That's not what we're saying. But it is very important to check on your members. Like I said, service can be tough. You all know how tough this field is. And again, if anybody were to, overdose, or if the member were to pass away, please notify us immediately. We do have standards of conduct that we follow. So with our list of member standards of conduct, we have 3 levels of remedies that we would resolve those incidences. So if a person is, if you're starting to observe a pattern of behavior that would be a violation of a standards of conduct, we would ask that you start documenting that, reach out to our office, communicate with us. We do have a corrective action plan that sites would use to kind of either nip this in the bud or kind of, change what is happening or what they are seeing. If it is performance-based, we do have a member action plan as well to kind of get them back on track. The use of a corrective action plan would be being tardy a lot, not notifying you if they need to change their schedule, showing up under the influence, things like that. And removal from service, the program has to be the one that releases an AmeriCorps member from service. A service site cannot release the person. However, if we get to this point, we would need that documentation to support that, if that's the only resolution that has to happen. But again, all of these things like our member action plan and our corrective action plan, they're on HHCK's website under Site Supervisor Resources. Okay, wrapping up. within the next week, definitely before the year starts, we will have all of our service site agreements sent out. We will send that out through Signwell, so just be on the lookout for that, so you can sign them electronically and get them back to me before the program year starts. America Learns accounts, you will receive those welcome emails for new supervisors, so you can set up your password, and your member, when they get started and get their account, they'll be connected to it as well. I'll send out the member and site expectation agreement form. We do ask that you have this completed within the first 2 weeks of when your member starts. Again, that's just to make sure everybody's on the same page with how the year, the schedule, what's expected of them while they're serving as a member on site, and everything like that. And then site contribution, we do have quarterly payment plans available. Site contribution invoices will be sent out. If your member has started in August, those invoices will get sent out in September, or be due in September. Wendy Tucker is our Director of Finance, so you will see that those invoices are sent from her. And if you do need a quarterly payment plan set up, Wendy Tucker would be the person that you would set that up with. Upcoming events. Again, our year starts on August 1st. That means we want to get our members cleared and started so that they can be on site with you on August 1st. Our program member orientation will be August 9th through the 11th here in Frankfurt. The AmeriCorps launch training is November 14th and 15th. And then we will have our site visits. That's in fall. This fall as well. So we do ask that both the members and supervisors be present during that, and we'll work with your all schedule, of course, when we get those scheduled. So that's it for today. Thank you again for joining today's training. I will send out that follow-up email tomorrow morning, and it will have those documents that I had referenced throughout the training today. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or reach out to me by email, and we can't wait to get the year started. While we're on here, does anybody need to unmute or write in the chat if they have any questions or anything?